Welcome, foolish mortals.
Row 18, plot 20.
What's going on, everybody? This is Now It's Dark, and I'm Jim, and today is Dollar Tree Theater. This is episode 13 for the channel. Today we are going to talk about the movie Soul Reaper. The soul is there for the taking. This was a movie I picked up at the Dollar Tree for $1.25, and it has this cool little fun slip cover. This is a 2019 film. It's 84 minutes. It is from the UK with a $200,000 budget, so low budget. It's got an even lower IMDb score of only 2.3 stars. And let's take a look at the trailer, because that's what I do. So we'll watch the trailer, and then you'll get some frame of reference when I'm talking about the movie.
What do you think Charlie Boy will have in store for us?
Team Extreme!
Oh yeah!
We'll see you at the cabin in an hour.
What cabin? Not the one on Peasman's Land.
Hey! Keep an eye out for a bloke in a tracksuit. That's Ian. He runs the cabin.
This is the worst day of my life.
Sorry.
This is freaky. Someone was watching us!
I think we should go.
You'll kill us all!
What the hell is going on, Charlie?
Boom! Zombie mind melt. What could possibly go wrong?
Okay, so Charlie's getting married. He invites his friends to join him for a stag weekend to a remote British cabin. The group thinks it's a great opportunity to leave the US behind and have a blowout with their old buddy. Only thing is, Charlie isn't telling his friends the whole truth about the trip. Instead of celebrating, events soon take a sinister turn when the friends start to disappear one by one. Is Charlie up to his old tricks, or has some dark demonic forces really been unleashed into the woods? Soon the American friends start to learn the true reason why Charlie has invited them to a creepy cabin in the woods in the middle of nowhere, and fight for survival is on. Yeah, that really actually sums it up. That little synopsis is pretty darn accurate. So I took a lot of notes. There were a lot of decent things I liked about this movie. I liked some of the imagery, as far as like the opening title sequence and things like that. For a quick minute, I thought it was going to be a horror comedy, but it's not a horror comedy. Bob Pope is the writer and director, and this movie is all Bob Pope. So within the first 4 minutes of the film, you meet the first friends of Charlie. They arrive at the cabin. They see this really run-down cabin in the woods, which it's like the cliche. It's the Evil Dead cabin. It's the cabin from Cabin in the Woods. It's the cabin in the woods. You can't describe it any more than it's the classic look. So I give them props for that. I don't consider that rip-off. I consider that more of an homage than anything else. I don't consider that copying or being stealing. But the girl gets a nail through her hand accidentally when she slams her hand against like the door frame. And so for a quick minute I thought, okay, because now there's blood on the wall, the cabin, like that's going to provoke evil spirits or possession type stuff. So I thought that's how they were introducing that as the plot, because it goes right from those two characters into the opening credit sequence, which was very well done. It had a cool look to it, had good music to it, and then we don't see those two main characters again for till the very, very end of the movie. I don't know why I called them main characters, opening characters. After the opening credit sequence, we're introduced to I think it's 6 more of the friends, and they stop at one of the local pubs, which again, I think it had the same name as the pub in American Werewolf in London, or it was very close to it. But then they get the traditional, the locals warn them all, don't go to the cabin in the woods, it's haunted, you're gonna die, you know. So that's like a normal horror trope that I also don't mind being in movies. I actually kind of enjoy those locals warning of the don't go wherever and you're gonna get killed if you do. I actually like that. So that group makes it to the cabin. They see it's all run down. There's no internet. There's no electricity. There's no Wi-Fi. There's no phone service. Charlie's nowhere to be found. So they think they're being set up by Charlie. Charlie is all we hear for the first 30 minutes of this movie. So it gives you like, they're spoon feeding you that Charlie is a practical joker and a guy that likes to do pranks, and so they all think they're being set up. Some of them think that they are there to solve like a murder mystery, like it's an escape room, because they're finding different clues and things. Some of them, you know, are going off and searching for clues or for Charlie, and they hear something, and every noise you hear in the background, oh, it's Charlie, it's got to be Charlie, oh, Charlie. That becomes a little overwhelming. But then, hey, guess what? 30 minutes in, Charlie actually shows up, which I, at this point, was not expecting. I did not think we were going to see Charlie. I was expecting that maybe Charlie was dead. Maybe Charlie was playing a joke on them and actually not even going to show up. Or maybe Charlie's wedding got canceled. I don't know. But then there's Charlie. Also, just a side note, as far as like casting goes, like this group wasn't necessarily like a group that I would have maybe associated with. And maybe that's me just being weird. Like, it's not the standard group that you would associate with all being friends. And like the American friends that are coming to the UK for Charlie, so it's like all 8 American friends coming from the US to go meet Charlie, who is living in the UK for his wedding. But then there's no UK friends coming to this party. So it's like, that's a little suspect, you know. It's a weird plot thing. I don't know that we needed to have it be American. Like, they could have just had them be, you know, from the UK as well. I don't know that them being from America served the plot. If I don't know if that makes sense at all. So Charlie arrives. They have like a fun-filled night around the campfire. It becomes very psychedelic, very trippy. Some cool little imagery and sequencing. I found those to be good. It's interesting with movies that I'm reviewing. Like, I find sometimes that I enjoy most the opening and ending credits because maybe it's a different person doing the editing for that, or there is something about the music being picked for those scenes that works better than sometimes the footage itself does within the movie. This movie has a lot of creepy imagery, and the sound was good, the acting is okay, but yeah, so they wake up from this campfire the next morning. Everybody has some symbol somewhere on their forehead in blood, like sketched in, including Charlie. And so again, the group, some of them think Charlie's responsible for it. Charlie's defense is, look, I have it too. I don't know what's going on. So they kind of like vote Charlie out of the group. So he's going to now be bound and gagged, basically, so that until they can come figure out what's going on. And then some more shenanigans happen. And then as part of the group, they're all starting to disappear. They're at the cabin, and then a couple of them come out of the cabin, and then there's this guy in a white dress, wedding dress, and Charlie's with them. So it's like 2 guys and 3 guys and Charlie. And this dude in a wedding dress stops them, and he's got like the staff, and he's like, "You shall not pass." Okay, so he didn't say that, but he was like, "You have all been chosen, your sacrifice. The 9 of you will open the portal, and your deaths will be serving the greater purpose for the world." And then it turns out it was Charlie all along. Charlie wipes off his symbol. I'm totally spoiling this because, yeah, it really was Charlie all along. So then they have the sacrifice scene to open the portal. So they're all like in the woods on the ground, laying around this big, I'm gonna guess it was a green blanket, because the special effects was very much just a green screen that had been placed underneath a circle of rocks, and then they just had like, green screen thing, and then some of them were pushed into the portal, and some of them start becoming functional again, and they are able to fight off part of it. And the Soul Reaper, who's the guy in the wedding dress, is trying to do the enchantment or the prayer or whatever to get the portal open. And one of the Americans starts talking, and the best line in the whole movie is the Soul Reaper looking down at him, and he goes, "Shut the fuck up, Yankee Doodle Dandy. I've been practicing for 5 years to do this speech." And so that was pretty funny. That got a little laugh out of me. And then the whole parts were a little cheesy compared to the tone. Like, it was a little off, but not too bad. So it did get a little cheesy. Ends up, most of everybody gets pushed into the portal, I think including the Soul Reaper and Charlie, because he gets beaten down by, I think, his fiance. I couldn't really pick up whether or not that was his fiance or not. And then this guy comes out of the woods, who was one of the people that were at the beginning of the movie, and she's like trying to hold him off. She's like, "Don't come any early." He's like, "Wait, shut up, I'm here to save you. Did the portal open yet?" And then it's just freeze framed on her face, kind of like. And so now that was the end of the movie. The end credits start rolling, and now we don't know whether or not the portal was open. I think it's better than a 2.3 rating, to be honest. I do understand why people gave it a 2.3 rating. It wasn't horrible. It's not the best acting again, and it's, low budget. It's a lot of the whole movie is just walking around in the woods, and that's not hard to do. So, but there was enough stuff to it. Probably didn't need to have the cast, like I say, half of them be from America. Like, that whole part of the storyline was not necessary. But if you get a chance to check out Soul Reaper, if you can find it. I was not able to find it on any streaming service, so Maybe you'll have better luck than me. But I hope you enjoyed this review. Leave some comments down below if you feel like you would like the Soul Reaper. And yeah, this was episode 13. Next week is episode 14. And I will be doing Camp Cold Brook.
I would like to thank all the little people who work so hard to make this picture a success. I would like to thank them, but I really can't because I did it all myself.